Lovely and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And the Stormers have been crowned the first ever United Rugby champions. They have beaten the Bulls 18 points to 13 in the URC final, a tremendous final, a brilliant spectacle, a fantastic tournament, and what a way for them to end. John Dobson and Stephen Kitsoff can take the biggest bow in rugby history because they've taken a side which I think people said had an outside chance of making playoffs, and they've gone all the way. They have beaten the Bulls, who have been the most consistent side in South Africa for a number of years, and they've taken them a full 80 minutes, and they have given their home fans a URC title in the first ever season of the competition. An absolutely exceptional performance from the Stormers, an exceptional season, and just an exceptional result. And deserved, very much deserved, because in the first half, they had to weather a storm because the Bulls were all over them. The Bulls came out and they started well. And unfortunately, the Stormers kind of have a habit, especially during the playoffs, of not starting particularly well. But after a messy first half, which ended up being 7 points to 3 at half time, the Stormers kicked into gear in the second half. And they scored an early try through Evan Lewis. And after that, their game management was very impressive. I thought that Herschel Yankees, Monty Liebach, and Warwick Land deserve special mention from a game management point of view because they just played in the right areas the entire second half. They didn't give the Bulls the opportunity to try and come back. And I think the strange thing is that we're talking about a Bulls side who weren't very accurate tonight. And that has always been a very characteristic thing with the Bulls. They are accurate, that they don't make silly mistakes. They're a very well drilled, very well coached side. But tonight, they couldn't get over the line, could they? And it cost them in the end. And I think that was the strange thing. It was strange to see a Bulls side make so many mistakes. And whether it was the occasion, whether it was the conditions, or whatever reason, the Stormers just coped a lot better. And if we look at the side and the game itself, as I said, it did start off with the Bulls being very much had the momentum, and it looked like it could have been quite a long day for Stormers. In fact, a lot of people were getting a bit panicky because Harold Forster went over in the second minute, and all of a sudden was 7-0 down, and the Bulls still had all the momentum. And credit to the Stormers because they didn't panic. They fought quite hard, and after conceding a try in the first 3 minutes, managed to keep the Bulls scoreless for the remainder of the half, and did manage to get themselves a penalty towards the end of the first half, which sort of saw them have something to work with. However, they did then concede a penalty early in the second half, and you thought, well, that's the perfect start for the Bulls. However, Evan Lewis then went over in the 44th minute, a very nice carry off the back of a good attacking scrum from Dane Willemse, and a very good effort from Evan Lewis to power through and then reach out and get over. A turning point was the 55th minute when Cornel Hendricks was yellow carded for a dangerous tackle on Ruan Nel. First of all, put Bulls down to 14 minutes, but more importantly, it gifted the penalty to the Stormers. The kick to the corner and they managed to maul over. Andre Hugo Fenter had just come on, nails the line out, gets over, and all of a sudden the Stormers are ahead for the first time in the 56th minute. The Bulls gave themselves a chance. They brought themselves within three with a three-pointer from Chris Smith. But Monty Liebach take a bow because he had a very poor game last week. And he did miss 5 points today. But under a lot of pressure in the 74th minute, absolutely nailed a drop goal. And that was sort of the beginning of the end. It meant that the Bulls had to score a try, and they just couldn't find it. And yeah, I think the Stormers, especially in the last 10 minutes, just did so well to just play in the right areas. You know, there were kicks over the top. There were it's a brilliant 50-22 by Warwick Land in there throughout the half. And they just made sure that they played in the right areas. And if you look at the stats, for example, possession-wise, in the first half it was 50-50. Second half, Stormers had 61%. But it's the territory for me which is telling. In the overall, 52% territory for the Stormers. But in the second half, they had 66% territory. And that was the difference, I think. The fact that they just played in the right areas. They did score two tries to one, but they just played in the right areas. And if we look at some of the other stats, the meters run are pretty similar, as are defenders beaten, as are clean breaks. Game line carries, there's only one separating them. Stormers had a lot more passes, but the stats are pretty even. In terms of tackles, Stormers' defense wasn't as good as the Bulls. They missed 21 tackles of 92. The Bulls missed 18 of 135, 87% tackle success rate. Molinibok missed 50% of his kicks. Chris Smith was operating at 100%. The lineouts, the Stormers lost one. The Bulls operated very well. The scrums were actually pretty even. We thought that the Stormers were going to be very dominant when it comes to the scrums, but I thought that they were pretty even. And yeah, so I think the Stormers just were better. They were more accurate, and once they got themselves in the lead, I thought they managed the game to perfection. In terms of some big performances, I thought Hachiba Diamani really stood up today and played. I mean, he had a phenomenal offload, but he made 2 tackles. I think he won 2 turnovers as well. Evan Ruiz was characteristically very busy. He made 12 carries, 8 tackles. I thought Steven Kitsov was absolutely immense. I mean, in terms of a captain's performance, to make 9 tackles, to carry the ball up 8 times, I thought he was fantastic. I thought Damien Willemse was once again very, very good. Warwick Halant had a couple of poor moments early on, but then grew into the game and ended up playing a storming effort in the second half. Dion Ferree, I mean, what a performance from a player who wasn't even involved in the setup at the beginning of the season and has come back, earned a block call up, and won man of the match in the URC final. For the Bulls, it must be said there were a couple of big performances from them as well. I thought Madosh Tumwe played pretty well. Cornel Hendricks, before that yellow card, I thought was playing pretty well. Marcel Kassier, 11 tackles. I thought Arno Buerta worked very hard, made 11 tackles, made 5 carries. I wouldn't say there were too many bad performances from either side. And the game itself was pretty entertaining. The Bulls just weren't particularly accurate. And they had their opportunities and they didn't take them. And the Stormers that was probably the difference, that the Stormers did take more of their opportunities. So it could have gone either way, and either one would have been deserved winners. But you do have to feel John Dobson, Steven Kitsov, a side that wasn't given a chance to go all the way and win it is quite special. And they're going to celebrate this victory for many months to come. And I think just a moment to reflect on what's been a phenomenal season. And I really enjoyed the URC. I was so excited about it. There was so much negativity about it, which I didn't personally understand. But I think we can now sit and say safely that it has been a fantastic tournament. And I think that we are in for something pretty special next season, because I think that these teams will only get better. And hopefully we will see our South African sides go the distance next time as well. Let me know what you thought about the game down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.